This is my chainsaw sharpening showdown. And really what I'm doing in this guy is showing you how I sharpen my chainsaws like 7 different ways. Oh my goodness. Alright, the saw we're gonna experiment on is here on the operating table is this guy, and the blade's it's not super dull, but it's been dinged a few times. I'm just gonna use this one blade for all of our different methods. Method number 1, the most basic, rudimentary, simple, what else can I say? It's to grab a file. Now, chainsaw files, they come in different sizes. Blades all require different sizes, and what I do is I got a little cheat sheet. So all my saws are listed here on the left. Then I've got the pitch and the gauge and the number of teeth and all that stuff. Over here, we got the file size. So we know by saw which file we need to grab. That's right, method number 1 is the simplest, most straightforward thing you could ever imagine. Grab a file and go. But before we go, I want to talk a little bit about the anatomy of a chainsaw blade, because it's funky. Now most blades are two-sided. Like they're sharp on this side and they're sharp on this side. So when you sharpen them, you don't just sharpen one side, you sharpen both sides. But one of the weird things about a chainsaw is that it is one of the blades, kind of like lawnmower blades, and there are a few other ones, but it's one of the blades that's not two-sided. It's only sharp on one side of the cutting tooth. Now I made up this little demo model thing of what an actual cutting tooth is. You got the raker right here, and that regulates the wood and keeps it moving toward the actual cutting tooth. All of this black stuff right here, all the part I marked black, that's what does the cutting. So if you imagine that this is dull, this is the section of the blade you need to sharpen. And what you're doing with your file, we're pretending this is a file, but it's not, but we're pretending it's a file, is you're coming up under the tooth. And underneath, you are sharpening the black part. Under here and right here, you're sharpening that stuff with your file. But what's confusing is that you are sharpening it so much from underneath that the dull part on the top actually erodes. Alright, so file sharpening, some of the most basic rudimentary stuff to know and to get used to and to get good at, and you will develop your method. But basically you are coming up under that tooth and wearing it away. Just wearing it away. There is all kinds of debate out there about how much you want to file, how many passes. I will leave that to the other guys. File sharpening, that's it right there. That's it. You can do it on your vise. That's method number 1. You can do it on a stump using one of these bad boys. Or I'm probably not alone in being someone who has filed just in the dirt with their saw just kind of squeezed between their legs. You want to clean out your file every couple passes. It will get little metal slivers in there and stuff, but that's it. That is chainsaw filing with a file. Very straightforward. You just got to get your technique down, and you got to remember that you are rubbing the bottom side of the cutting edge. Rubbing the bottom side of the cutting edge until all that dull, nasty, funkified stuff wears away, but not so much that you eat up the whole tooth. There's definitely a lot more to it. You will find all kinds of funky videos out there if you're interested about the angle your file should take. Not only your angle this way, but your angle up and down, if you should spin the file or not, etc. That is approach number 1 to filing a chainsaw. That's it. Grab a file, make sure it's the right size, and get going. And then every couple times I file, not every time, but every couple times I file, I will come through with my raker gauge and bring my rakers down. The raker, again, is this dude. And what it does is super important with the chain. It allows the wood, say this is your wood, it is sliding along, you're cutting your log, it's sliding along, and it allows some of that to get munched by the blade right here. if your raker is too high, is up high, your wood's going to bypass the blade. If it's too low, your wood is going to munch into the blade so much that the blade can't even cut, especially if you got a wimpy saw. If you got a powerful saw, bring those rakers down a little bit more. But if you don't, you need that raker to be just high enough to only let a little bit of wood encounter that blade each time it goes around. Our method number 2 is very close to the hand file system, but you just got to get one of these multi-file jobs, and I'll put links to all this stuff down below, you know, those Amazonian links. This guy has a file for filing your blades for the cutting edges, and it's got a file for taking care of the rakers. It does it all at the same time. All right, now some people swear by these things, and I use them from time to time. They are very convenient, and all you really do is set that guy in place and start to file, and it will file the blade, the cutting edge, like I said, as well as the raker. You are moving along the cutting edge, right? Moving along the cutting edge, and at the same time, that flat file is hitting the raker, so it's doing a double doozy. I tend not to use this guy in the shop. I feel like I do a better job with the hand file just without this big old apparatus. But if I'm out and about, you know, I'm on a job and my chain just goes totally dull, hits some concrete or dirt or something, I will pull out my all-in-one tool and tune up a chain. I feel like it's not the sharpest you're gonna get, but it's almost like the fastest tool for getting it pretty sharp, if that makes sense. Like it works really well, it's just not the best. But in some situations, you can't really get the best. All-in-one tool, this is a total knockoff. This is like a clone. I think Steel invented the all-in-one tool. So if you're gonna buy one, you can buy one of these clone knockoff guys, or you could buy the real deal. All-in-one tool lives over here. All right, now since we're on the topic of gizmos, I might as well mention this guy. I'm not gonna pretend to understand this thing. I've never been able to figure it out, but there are a bunch of these jigs that you will clamp, usually on your bar. Clamp it on your bar, sometimes clamp it on your vise, and it will kind of guide you. Not everybody with the file feels like they can really dial in the angle just right. This guy, however, I do understand. It's a little more my speed. Let me show you how I use this guy on occasion, not all the time, but on occasion, to crack a sharp tooth on my chainsaw. All right, so this is a Dremel tool. I mean, it's not really a Dremel tool because it's a total cheap clone knockoff of a Dremel tool. It's got a speed. I always keep it on slow. And then it's got a couple different bits. So actually I got my small one on there. I gotta switch that out. My bigger guy is over here for this saw. And I believe these are diamond coated, kind of like that front tooth you got. All right, first let me show you how this works, then I'll tell you what I think about it. Line up your angles, right? If you can't eyeball it, it will tell you what your 30 degree is. I believe this chain rocks the 30 degree angle. That looks about right, but it's also got 20 and 35. If you want a sharper point, you go for the bigger number. If you want closer to a right angle, which I believe is for ripping, don't quote me on that, but I think it is, you go with the lower number. Sort of like at the dentist's office, you come up on the blade, and it takes a little bit less than you think it's gonna take before you can move on to the next one. I've got mixed feelings about this guy. I mean, I feel like it's easier and faster than the hand file. But at the same time, I never feel like I'm really digging in as deep as I do with the hand file. So just like all machines, you know, all mechanized stuff, I feel like you get a little bit out of touch with this guy. Like, you know, you use the tool and the tool's doing the work, but you're not really like in touch with the metal. All right, that sounded just a little bit cheesy, the whole like get in touch with the metal thing, but I just prefer the hand file. All right, that's the cheap Dremel clone. There's probably good ones of this tool. This one's a little underpowered or whatever, but it still works. And like I said, I run it on low. I don't really run it really fast just because I don't want to overdo it and just burn up my chain. The next method is in some ways, I guess I just want to say it's like the most elaborate and definitely most expensive. In some ways, oh, I almost want to say it's the best, but it's not really the best. It's just the one I'm kind of liking these days. All right, first off, you got to get your chain off the chainsaw, because this method requires a separation of saw and chain. All right, so next up in the chainsaw sharpening showdown jamboree is the grinder. And some people will mount these guys on the bench, either permanently or temporarily, but I got it on my post. I like the post because it allows me to operate at kind of like a good comfortable height when I'm standing here doing it. And the other thing I should say is that I never sharpen just one chain when I'm over here. I guess it's just because the setup on this thing, it's not quick. You know, you don't just sharpen a chain real quick and get back to work with this guy. Instead, what I'll do is batch them out. So when my dull chains pile up and I'm out of sharp ones for my different saws, different lengths, I will come over here and sharpen 3 or 4 or 5 at a time. There are also a bunch of different grinders you can get. Even Oregon makes a couple different guys. Again, I'll put a link down below to this guy. That'll be one of those bling bling links. I've been running this stone wheels on this thing. A lot of guys just swear by the diamond stuff. Dude, you got to get the diamond. Your stone's going to cook your blades. Yeah, these will heat up the blade definitely if you're not careful. Even if you are careful, sometimes it'll heat up the blade, but so far I've just been going with the stone blades. I'm a little bit of a cheapskate, and these are cheaper than the diamond ones. All right, there are like a million different settings and dialings in you gotta do to get this thing running just right in terms of your angles, and they're all different for each saw, and you gotta tip it and twist it and all that stuff. This guy also goes left to right, and you got to dial that in for your exact chain. And it's just kind of one of those things where if you're an engineer, you're going to be like 5 steps ahead. I am not an engineer. In fact, I'm like the opposite of engineer. So this took a little bit of fiddle-faddling. Keep the instructions at hand if you are not that engineer person, because you're going to be referring back to them. Anyway, you get it all dialed in. Finally, all your angles and stuff, and you can bust out some very specific sharpening action on multiple chains. And basically what you do with this guy is you will sharpen all of your right side cutters at one time, and then you'll come back through and do all the left side cutters. It is mass production, you know, it's like mechanized mass production. It makes every cutting tooth the same size. And one problem with this method is that I think it does eat away your chain faster. Like, because you're using a grinding wheel and because it's so fast and so efficient, you will take off more than you need to. At least I take off more than I need to. And that means that I end up going through chains a little bit faster. At the same time, they are razor sharp, really, really sharp when they come out of here. Now you can also take your rakers down with this bad boy, but it takes a little bit of special setup. It's not super quick. You got to flip over to another wheel, and then that wheel's got to be customized to be flat on one side. So it takes a little bit of setup. I like it overall. Like, it does a good job with the rakers, but it just takes a little bit of dialing in. This saw was sharpened 7 different ways, and I didn't even clean it. Alright, so that's my chainsaw sharpening showdown. 6-7 different ways I sharpen my saws. I would say that this is my favorite new method just because it allows me to have a bunch of sharp chains on hand. It also allows me to procrastinate. So I just pile up the dull chains and don't worry about it. until I need to worry about it. So it's kind of a mixed bag. I do think it eats away a little bit too much metal if you're not careful. So anyway, it's not perfect, but it's kind of my favorite method. The other favorite, if I can choose two, is just the traditional file. It's just the way to do it. It's like the way to actually know what you're doing and learn about it and feel it and all that stuff. As for the ones I kind of hate, it's these gizmos and stuff. They're just not my favorite. This has come dangerously close to being a how-to video, but really when it comes down to it, it's just the story of how I did it. I appreciate you checking it out. I thought that was a pretty good visual aid.